Why do I keep smiling when I'm not okay? You walk into a room, and before you even say a word, your face is already doing something. A soft smile, maybe a small laugh, something that says, "I'm fine. Don't worry about me." And nobody questions it, because you've gotten really good at this. Not at hiding exactly, more like performing calmness so naturally that even you forget you're doing it. Someone asks how you are, and your mouth says, "Good," before your brain has even checked. You didn't decide to say that, it just came out. Because that's what you always say, that's what you do. You smile, you keep things light, you make the conversation easy for everyone. And then later, sitting alone somewhere, you feel something. That doesn't match the face you wore all day. Something heavier, something that was there the whole time. But nobody saw it, because you didn't let them. The question isn't whether you're okay or not okay. The question is, why does keeping it to yourself feel like the only real option? Here's what's actually going on. Your nervous system learned something very early, not from a textbook, from experience. It learned that certain emotions, the heavy ones, the messy ones, the ones that don't resolve quickly, make other people uncomfortable. And when other people get uncomfortable, things get harder. The room gets tense, someone gets defensive, or worse, you become the problem. So your brain made a quiet decision. Keep it manageable, keep it presentable, keep it in. And smiling is the most efficient way to do that. It signals to everyone around you, nothing to worry about here. Everything is under control. You can relax. And people do relax. They move on. The conversation stays easy. And somewhere inside you, there's a part that watches all of this happen and doesn't know how to interrupt it. This isn't weakness. It's not dishonesty. It's actually a very sophisticated system. Your mind built to keep you socially safe. The smile is armor, and armor works until wearing it every single day starts to feel heavier than whatever it was protecting you from. There's a term for this, emotional masking. But forget the term. Here's what it actually feels like. You're in two places at once. There's the version of you that's in the room, laughing, nodding, saying the right things. And then there's the version of you that's watching from somewhere further back. Tired, a little numb, wondering when this will be over. And sometimes those two versions feel so far apart that you don't know which one is real anymore. At some point in your life, probably before you had the language to understand it, you showed someone how you really felt. Maybe you cried when it wasn't appropriate. Maybe you said you were scared or hurt or overwhelmed. And the response you got wasn't what you needed. Maybe they dismissed it. You're being too sensitive. Maybe they got frustrated. Maybe they turned it into their problem. Or maybe, and this is the one people rarely talk about, maybe they tried to help, but in a way that made you feel like a burden, like your pain was something they had to manage, instead of something they could just sit with. So you learned, not consciously, not as a choice, but somewhere deep in your body, the lesson got filed. Your emotions are a lot for people. Be careful with how much you show. And smiling became the safest version of yourself. The version that doesn't ask too much. The version that doesn't make things complicated. The version people respond well to. Without realizing it, You started treating your own emotional experience like something that needed to be edited before it was fit for other people. And after enough years of that, editing became automatic. You stopped even noticing you were doing it. The smile just appeared, like a reflex, like breathing. And the frightening part? You became so good at appearing okay that people genuinely believed you were. They stopped checking in. They stopped asking, because you never gave them a reason to. And somewhere along the way, you stopped checking in on yourself, too. Here's what this costs you. Not in some dramatic, obvious way, in quiet ways, in the way you feel strangely alone, in rooms full of people who like you, in the way conversations feel slightly hollow, even when they're going well, in the way you sometimes catch yourself laughing at something, and then wondering why you feel nothing underneath it. Your emotional experience stops feeling real to you. Not because you're broken, but because you've spent so long translating it into something acceptable for other people that you've lost touch with the original. You feel things, but there's a delay now, a filter. And by the time the feeling gets through, it's already been managed, already been softened, already been made smaller than it actually was. Rest starts feeling strange, because when you're not actively managing your presentation, when there's nothing to perform for, you don't know what to do with the quiet. You reach for your phone. You distract yourself. You find something to be productive about. Because sitting with yourself, just yourself, no performance required, feels unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable, like a muscle you haven't used in a long time. And the loneliness isn't about being alone. You can be surrounded by people who genuinely care about you and still feel like nobody really knows what's happening inside. Because you made sure they wouldn't. You smiled. You kept it light. You made everything easy. And now, even when you want someone to see the real thing, you don't know how to stop the automatic response. The smile comes first. Every time. Here's what this isn't. This isn't about learning to cry more in public, or telling everyone how you really feel all the time, or performing vulnerability the way the internet tells you to. This is about something much quieter. Noticing. Just noticing. The next time you automatically say, "I'm fine," notice that you did it. Not to change it, not to be angry at yourself for it, just to see it. To register. Oh, that was automatic. That wasn't actually a choice. Because the smile isn't the enemy. The problem isn't that you've learned to manage your emotions around people. The problem is when the management becomes so total that you can't find yourself underneath it anymore. When even in private, you're still performing for an invisible audience, still editing, still making yourself smaller and easier and more acceptable. For nobody. You were never too much. You were around people who didn't have the capacity for what you were carrying. And you adapted. The way humans do. The way children do. When they don't have other options. But you have more options now. Even if it doesn't feel that way yet. Even if the smile still comes first. Even if you're not ready to stop. Just knowing it's there, the thing underneath the smile, is enough to start. But you don't have to show it to anyone. You just have to stop pretending. It isn't there. That's enough for now.